morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a very, very special episode of the Rumboyz Fantasy Sports Network. Welcome to the Rumboyz Fantasy Sports Network, ladies and gentlemen. I'm excited for this piece. Super excited. Today we are talking fantasy football. Oh, yeah! Yeah, that's right. A little bit of schoolboy cue to start us off here on a Sportscaster. This will turn out to be uploaded later on for you guys on YouTube. Sorry, because of copyright, you guys can't hear all the cool music pre-show. But today we are talking about how fantasy friendly are the Arizona Cardinals really? It only makes sense, being that the Rumboyz just got done doing the NFL Players Association rookie interview. Shout out to the NFL Players Association. Big ups to you guys for having us out there in Los Angeles, housing us up in Beverly Hills. Shout out to Sportscaster taking care of the whole trip. It was definitely amazing. But of course, being that one of our main angles and what we really do here is fantasy football during the football season. I wanted to kind of get a head start on this kind of thing right here, right now. The NFL Players Association interviews kind of got the gears turning as to not just the rookies, but just overall the rookies coming into their new teams. How fantasy friendly are some of these guys going to be, and who you can maybe look at going for on your lineup. What is good, Danny Dorito, 1984? I see here on the Sportscaster chat. Dilly. So just wanted to go in and kind of go over some of the different teams and, different guys. This piece was inspired by friend, colleague, mentor, inspiration, Matthew Berry's, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for Matthew Berry. Hell yeah, dilly. So Matthew Berry recently did a piece on his show about whether or not we are buying or selling too high or too low on Kyler Murray. The main point of view was if we're buying too low. I'm going to break that down just a little bit more here today on today's episode. Okay. So first thing that we want to look at. Let's start here at the quarterback position. Well, actually, hang on. First, before we do that, ladies and gentlemen, oh my goodness. Before we do that, how we always do. Cheers to me. Cheers to you, all the Rumboyz and girls. What it do? Dilly. We greatly appreciate y'all. Cheers. Thank you for joining for the show today. So, Kyler Murray. So, Kyler Murray is interesting whenever we look at him from a fantasy football standpoint. Kyler Murray is unique in that he is only the second quarterback in FBS history to throw for 4,000 and run for 1,000 yards combined. Now, with that being said, let's take a look at that. Okay? Of course, first, going to start off with the coaching and Cliff Kingsbury. He's a guy who likes to high fly. We know what he did when he had Patty Mahomes underneath his tutelage back at his college days. Okay, so we know that the deep ball play is something that we should look forward to whenever we analyze Cliff Kingsbury as a coach himself. But Kyler Murray is unique enough to where he has the ability to improvise and make plays on his feet as well. Over the last 10 games of last season, let's look at the rookie class from last season to kind of help prove this point. Let's go into some stats. Baker Mayfield, he was over the last 10 weeks of the season, he was a top fantasy quarterback. You could have went out, got Baker Mayfield in the last 10 weeks of fantasy football, and he was one of the top guys to have. He was a top 10 quarterback throughout that duration. Now, also with that, over the last about 6 weeks or so of fantasy, Josh Allen, a guy who is known for how he is mobile-wise on the field, Josh Allen was one of the top quarterbacks in fantasy football. So pretty much with what Matthew was alluding to in his piece when he brought up those stats, and what I'm alluding to also when I'm in agreement with, is that this guy, Kyler Murray, K1, has the opportunity to be a two-way athlete at the quarterback position next year, and he can possibly get you some points on the run and also get you some points throwing the ball. He's pretty much going to be a hybrid between those two guys, which is going to be very, very unique. I'm definitely excited to see what Kyler Murray's stat line is going to look like, because that is going to be fascinating to see for me. Now, there's only one, of course, Patty Mahomes, and analysts such as Mike Clay have gone on record to say that similar to Russell Wilson's rookie season, Kyler Murray could have very, very similar numbers as well. About 3,000 so touchdown, 3,000 so passing yards. About 400 so rushing yards, and then 30 TDs. If Kyler Murray were to emulate that, and we were to take those numbers, fix my shirt here, Rumboyz Fantasy Sports Network. But if he were to emulate that and embody that, utilizing the on-field talent he has to kind of be that hybrid between Baker Mayfield and Josh Allen, but if he falls underneath, kind of the same stat line as Russell Wilson's rookie year, how many analysts are predicting this young man to do, then it would lock him into where you would potentially be looking at a solid QB2 that's a top 15 QB. Now, notice I said QB2. Kyler Murray is nowhere by any means a QB1. Plenty of fantasy seasons have been done in because guys they're so high on rookies coming into the draft. They know so much about college football and they want that youth that they'll go and they'll try and bet the whole pot on a big name guy like this. Let's remember, first round draft pick, first overall. Let's remember that he's coming into this new system. It's a new coach, and there's a lot of pieces there that need to fall into the right places and fall in line the right way, in order for them as a team outside of fantasy to be very effective. But I think that you could probably grab Kyler Murray maybe in the no, he's definitely not. Yeah, he's definitely not a QB1 coup here on the Sportscaster chat. Larry Fitzgerald is old as hell, and David Johnson, I don't know where he's been. We're going to get into those guys here in the second coup. But as a team, yes, the Cardinals are definitely a work in progress. But when we look at them in fantasy, we're of course breaking down individual talents within themselves. I think Kyler Murray you could probably buy maybe in the later rounds. He could probably be around 8, 9, 10 guy, just because quarterbacks are going to be there. Guys are going to go for, of course, the bigger names, the Drew Breeses, the Tom Brady's, the Patrick Mahomes, the Aaron Rodgers, so on and so forth. I think that the quarterback position is going to be shaken up this year also because of things that were happening in free agency. So, next up, we got to talk about the running back position for the Arizona Cardinals. And, of course, we have to highlight the one, the only David Johnson. Now, this man was a beast, I believe, back in season 2015. Absolute, positively a beast. Now, many analysts, due to the way that the Arizona Cardinals offense is pictured to be, a lot of analysts are stating that David Johnson could come back to his natural form, to his 2015 form. And if he were to do that, then he is definitely a guy that you could go out and you could probably buy in fantasy. Enough people are probably not sold on him to where maybe you get him, third, fourth, fifth round. If he were to return back to 2015 standards, we would be looking, 2016 standards, not 2015 standards. 2015 he was definitely on the rise. But if he were to return back to his 2006 2016 standards, then we would be looking at 1,239 yards, averages about 4.2 per carry, 16 TDs, 80 receptions. I don't know if 100% from a PPR standpoint that David Johnson is gonna catch that many passes out the backfield, just because the Cardinals have this young kid that they just drafted at the wide receiver position by the name of Andy Isabella. And at UMass, Andy Isabella was originally went there to be a running back, and worked his way into the wide receiver role. If you guys don't believe me, you can check out the Andy Isabella interview that I did. The kid's story is phenomenal. But I think that if Cliff is smart, and in today's NFL, we all have made the jokes about Cliff Kingsbury's resume, and he once sat down and had a cup of coffee with Sean McVay. I expect there to be some type of trickery in Cliff Kingsbury playbook that may cut down on the out the back passes from David Johnson, and maybe they utilize Andy Isabella on some end arounds or stuff like that. Just because he has that experience. Why not, if a guy has that on his resume, dig into that, utilize it into the playbook, mark up the X and O's the proper way. So, but I do think that David Johnson can return back to 2016 form, of which he was at his most prized fantasy ownership possession. I believe he was owned in about almost about 95% of leagues. It was very rare that no one, or about almost 100% of leagues back in 2016. No, there was no way that nobody did not have him. He was a guy that I had back in 2016. Actually, now that I sit back and recall, but with with Kyler Murray's scrambling abilities, I look for David Johnson to maybe get that little dump off pass out the backfield. He could be very effective in a PPR situation, I see, just because of that. I still feel like Arizona needs to clean up the offensive line. They did get Kyler some protection, but until that offensive line can fully get down their chemistry, I think Kyler Murray could be running for his life a little bit, which could lead into some little dump offs to David Johnson. But I think David Johnson could possibly return back to his original presence. I like him in goal line situations with this offense, because I think that this offense with Kyler Murray's arm is going to find itself in the red zone a lot in those goal line situations, to where he could just easily come in, boom, and hammer it in. But I'm a fan of David Johnson. He's a guy that I feel is going to touch the rock a lot in this style of offense, in this Cliff Kingsbury offense, and I think that he's gonna eat. We'll see a little bit of a decline, but he'll come fairly close to his 2016 season. I don't think that we'll see anything similar to his 2017 season. He wasn't bad in 2018, more effective down the stretch later on in the year. 50 receptions out the back, 7 TDs. But we would definitely like to see 2016 David Johnson with this new setup. Now, moving forward, this guy right here, Larry Fitzgerald. Now, with a lot of talent that the Arizona Cardinals have recently acquired, be it that Hakeem Butler and Andy Isabella, Christian Kirk is still in this lineup. Of course, a receiver on this roster may have a dip or may have a decline. I don't know if I personally think that receiver may very well be Christian Kirk. Even though he did get targets from Rosen last year. Rosen's not the quarterback now. Kyler knows how impactful Larry Fitzgerald is and how much Larry Fitzgerald can teach him. I think that old guy to new guy, they're going to develop a lot of chemistry. I don't know if you go and you grab him. I don't know if Larry Fitzgerald is even draftable in fantasy, because last year he was a guy that kind of just would get picked up and then you drop them, and you pick them up and then you drop them. I mean, and you'd always feel bad about dropping Larry Fitzgerald because he's such a living legend. Spotlight Sports Talk here in the Sportscaster chat. What is good, Spotlight Sports Talk? But he's such a legend in his right that you don't want to look at the draft board when you're drafting and be like, damn, Larry Fitz is there. I could get him, but I don't want to waste that spot. I think he's going to be effective, but I don't know if he's going to be a guy on this Arizona Cardinals that I draft. Although I do more so favor, I think he'll be better than what he was last year. In terms of a decline in receiver touches, I think that may take place for Christian Kirk more than anybody else on this Arizona Cardinals offense, just because Kyler is going to have these new young weapons. Butler, who I had an amazing interview with, and I got to meet the guy. Butler's ready to go, and he's ready to work. Andy Isabella, he's ready to go, he's ready to work. So it's interesting. It hurts and it pains me. Before everyone wants to try and attack me in the chat and in the comments section about this, okay? Because I know that the Arizona Cardinal fans, Jordan Love, the Arizona Cardinal fans, they're gonna get at me about that. They're gonna be like, "What do you mean? What do you mean?" And first off, folks, let's remember this is fantasy football that we're talking about. Second off, just go back a couple of seconds. I said that it hurts, but I don't know if he gets drafted. If he does get drafted in your fantasy league, you probably draft him maybe a little bit of in the later rounds, maybe as a filler spot in case you draft a guy like Hopkins, Michael Thomas, any of these other big receivers. There's even some young guys that I probably take over Larry Fitz that I think are gonna bring some impact into the game. It is what it is. So Larry Fitz is a unique situation whenever we talk fantasy football. Of course, he is going to be an impact on the field, especially from the leadership standpoint, and especially from leading the team and teaching these young guys, especially the young receivers. Of course, he's an absolute positive legend, hands down, living legend. But I don't know. Larry Fitz. Larry Fitz is a tough one for me, ladies and gentlemen. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. But this guy is going to be effective on the field for this team. I just don't know about your fantasy lineup. I think Christian Kirk may I actually think with the new guys coming in, Christian Kirk and Larry Fitzgerald see a drop off. And Larry Fitzgerald, really quick before we move on to the next piece of this breakdown here, Larry Fitz should be seeing, from just excluding fantasy, Larry Fitzgerald should kind of be seeing a decrease. One, he's up in age. Two, you got to start making room for these new guys, getting them some on the field experience, getting some regular season experience. If you are really trying to grow and develop your organization as the Arizona Cardinals, the state of which they are, so that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. The guy is getting ready. He's probably going to be getting ready for retirement after this season. This is probably going to be his last season. I hope he goes out with the bang, but I mean, at the same time, Arizona Cardinals, you should be confident in the fact that maybe he takes less of the touches and less of the targets, and maybe some of the younger guys get that experience as well, and they get the opportunity to develop. Now, we're on to our younger guys here, okay? And it's important to highlight these two gentlemen. In the top left corner, you will see Hakeem Butler pictured. And in the bottom left, you see the homie Andy Isabella. Now, whenever we break down these two players, first off, I look for Isabella to probably line up in the slot. I think that he's gonna be a guy that's gonna get a lot of first down catches, and is gonna be effective in those first down scenarios. With that being said, he's probably gonna be along lines of your PPR type of guy. points per reception. Uh, I like him in that format. I like him in that style of fantasy football play. And I think that he has tremendous upside in that regard, just due to his size, his stature, his speed. Think of it how effective Cole Beasley was for years and years and years for Romo as a check down artist. Think of it like Adam Humphries in the Tampa Bay scheme, or even a Julian Edelman up in New England. If you guys want to go with the big time guy like that has rings and stuff like that, he could even be at that level, and I see him fulfilling that style of role. Once again, I can also see him possibly with the creative mind of Cliff Kingsbury lining him up in certain situations in the backfield, and he could take off with the ball as well. I could see him maybe getting 2 or 3, 4, 5, even 5 touches out the backfield, every other game. I could see him lining up in the slot. Because of his speed, he could take the top off of the route, or he could take the top off of defense like a Deshaun Jackson and challenge the safety. And don't let that be a one-on-one scenario between the safety and Andy Isabella, because the safety's going to get burned. Like, just straight up, he's going to get burnt. Put him in a toaster, turn it all the way up, because he's getting that burnt. Put him in a toaster, turn it all the way up. As soon as that thing pops, that's what that safety's going to look like. Burnt to a crisp. This is a guy that I think is effective for you PPR guys. Even in standard leagues, I see that he could be effective. Now, the biggest rookie receiver that I think has a lot of upside is, of course, going to be Hakeem Butler. He's tall. He's big. He'll challenge you at the highest point of the catch. And he's going to go big man for big man with you. He's going to challenge you to jump with them. I don't know how many corners are gonna jump with this guy. Just saying. So look out for Hakeem Butler. I like Hakeem Butler in the standard format. Just because I think he's gonna get a lot of TDs. He's gonna be seen in a lot of jump ball scenarios to where, out of the huddle. I can picture him going into the huddle and just being like, "Hey yo, Kyler. Hey yo, bruh. Throw that thing up there to me." And I think that that's what it's going to be, and I think that that's how it's going to work out. This is just, of course, my personal opinion. I mean, but look at the guy's physical stature and attributes. If you don't believe me, the kid's physical stature and attributes absolutely, positively give him the ability to where he'll jump with you. He'll jump with you. And he's going to make you have to work for it. So I really, really like Hakeem Butler a lot. I really do. I think that the kid is going to be tremendous at 6'6", drafted out of in the 4th round at drafted out of the 4th round at the 103rd pick, 225, coming out of Iowa State. He's going to give you the business, And then, like I said, in the slot, you're going to have to worry about the 5'9", 4'3" running, 5'9", 4'3" running, 190-pound Andy Isabella, who is going to take you for a wild ride with his speed. I get it. I know a lot of y'all are in the comments or in the chat are gonna be like, of course you're gonna say these words about these guys. You met them. You did interviews with them. You had lunch and you had dinner with them. Come on, of course you're gonna say this. You sat in the same room with them. Look, aside, put that aside. Okay, let's put that aside. These guys are talents. And they're young. And this is a young team, and I think that these young guys are going to be the future of this team. And I think that Larry Fitzgerald is going to lead them, and he's going to teach them a whole hell of a lot. And I think that when these names come across your draft board and you're looking at guys to grab, I don't think that these two young men would be bad pickups. Maybe you don't Of course, we're really gonna get into the real analysis come preseason, because preseason we're gonna see these guys on the field together and we're gonna see how they work, and then we'll truly be able to judge and evaluate. Okay, but these guys weren't drafted to get dropped, so I have a feeling that they're gonna make the team. I know they're gonna make the team. They're gonna make the goddamn team. These guys weren't drafted to ride the bench. These guys were drafted to come out, do work, and be playmakers. And I think that for your fantasy team, they're going to be playmakers as well. I think Kyler Murray is a good QB too. I think David Johnson, you see if he can slide to you. You don't go out there and you don't go get David Johnson in the first, second round. I think David Johnson may slip to like the third. Maybe beginning third, late third, maybe that's where you pick David Johnson, if he's available. And I think that you're going to look back at the fantasy season and you're going to be like, damn, I'm so happy that I listened to Rumboyz Fantasy Sports Network. I'm so happy I was rocking with those guys. I'm so happy that I watched that Arizona Cardinals breakdown that Robbie J did. I think that Hakeem Butler, in standard formats, is going to be a guy that's going to get you a lot of TDs because of his ability to catch the ball at the highest point. I think at PPR, you may want to look at Andy Isabella as a fantasy sleeper. I think that both these guys are going to be fantasy sleepers because they're rookies. Because they're rookies. And what do guys do during fantasy football? I was one of these guys. Oh man, he's a rookie. I'm not going to go for him. Let me see what he does next year. Let me tell you a story about a rookie. I got Nick Chubb off the waiver wire last year, ladies and gentlemen, because he wasn't doing much at the beginning of the season. And once he started touching that ball for the Cleveland Browns, that man went off. He proved to me that rookies can be effective in fantasy football. And I was a guy that was not big on rookies. Saquon, a guy that proved to me, rookies. Zeke Elliott, a guy that proved to me, rookies. Rookies can come in and do this thing too and get you a lot of points. Kyler Murray's a QB2. Hakeem Butler in standard leagues for what he's going to do in that goal line situation. Get the ball at the highest point. I think David Johnson, you let him slide to you. You get him in the later rounds. PPR, you go Andy Isabella. Larry Fitzgerald, maybe he doesn't get drafted, but maybe you grab him after the draft. You know, maybe you look at your draft and you're like, damn, I didn't get enough receivers, or damn, you know, I drafted this guy and I should have gotten this guy. You know, Larry Fitzgerald could be one of those guys. Or if not, you get him in the late rounds. And then Christian Kirk, I think that there's a decline in his, but maybe you draft him late round. Or kind of similar situation with Larry Fitz. And if Larry Fitz is already gone, and you go get him. And that's the way that I foresee that, and that's the way I break this down. In terms of this team, in terms of a fantasy defense, we're not even going to bother touching that really in this video. All that we need to know is that we're not high on the Arizona defense. This is not a defense that you draft. It's not a defense that you even bother wasting your damn time with. And I think that is the best way that I can word that in terms of the Arizona Cardinals defense. But yeah, you know, let me know what you guys think about this video. If you're checking this video out on YouTube, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. You throw us that like. Hit us with that like button. And you know, you leave a comment as well, and you know, you tell us your thoughts, you tell us what you think. The most important thing that you could do is share this clip, share this video with your friends and your family. Like if you play in the league, you know, like guys, like let's check this out. Actually, if you play in a league, I doubt that you're probably going to share your secrets and analysis that you receive with the rest of your league mates. But if you're checking us out on Sportscaster, Make sure you share this on all of your social media. Share this on Twitter. Share this on Facebook. Copy the link and you can make it a Snapchat and tell people to swipe up. You know, share it with your friends on Instagram, all that good stuff. Sportscaster is the #1 sports streaming app in the world, ladies and gentlemen. The #1 sports streaming app in the world. If you watch a video on YouTube, a live video on YouTube, and someone's calling play-by-play, they're going to be behind that play-by-play by 30 seconds. On Sportscaster, right on time, baby. Sub 0 second latency. So it's like right up to when the ball is passed, when the hoop is made, when the touchdown is scored, when the home run is done. You're gonna get it right then and there. So make sure you tell your friends about Sportscaster as well. Super super important. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a pleasure doing this video for you. Like I said, comment, subscribe, spike the like. Sportscaster, make sure you guys share it out. I love and appreciate all of y'all. Thank you so much dearly. Cheers to me, cheers to you, all the Rum Boys and girls. What it do? This has been a fantasy football breakdown from your boy Robbie J. I'm out of here. Peace.